lav mic? No? Just a handheld? Okay, thank you.
She's okay with that. I told her they sound better anyway.
I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I'm over here, and you're over there, but there is something between us that's greater than air. It seems like I'm over here, and you're over there, but there is something between us that's greater than air. It seems like I'm over here, it's your heart to dare, but there is something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see, I'm no confusion, it's your heart to dare, but there is something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see, I'm no confusion, it's your heart to dare, but there is something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see, I'm no confusion, it's your heart to dare, but there is something between us that's greater than air. It seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, like I'm over here, and you're over there. That's what I said, something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see, like I'm no confusion, it's your heart to dare. But there is something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see, like I'm no confusion, it's your heart to dare. But there is something between us that's greater than air. It seems like I'm no I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
Good morning, and welcome to Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We're so glad you're here. My name is Jeffrey Jacoby, and I'm a member of the worship team, and I'll be your worship associate today. I offer a special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time, either in person or online. Hi to everybody else that's online too. We look forward to getting to know you. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of each and every person. We work to dismantle racism and oppression. We support the LGBTQ+ communities. We work for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues, as the world calls us to side with love. We seek to build a beloved community, not only here, but in our surrounding area. If you are viewing online, we hope to meet you soon in the future. But for everyone here in person, you're invited to join us for social time following the service for light refreshments in the fellowship hall, which is down this hall at the end there. Just go out this door and down there, you'll see it. That's where everybody heads after the service. And then at 11:25, please join us for religious exploration and small group activities. There will be worship reflections here in the sanctuary. If you'd like to come back and talk about the sermon, if it made you feel about something you'd like to talk about yourself, come on back in here and we'll talk about it. And then just look on the back of your order of service there and you'll see other activities if you want to check out something else. And now, we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of our shared Unitarian Universalism faith. And Cora is going to help us. Thank you very much, Cora, for the last minute. Cora's filling in for us. We didn't get anybody earlier, so we really appreciate Cora doing this. Thank you. Our words today are by Reverend Karen LeBlanc. This isn't just a place of worship. This isn't just a fellowship of like minds. This isn't just a Sunday morning filled with spirit and topped off with coffee and cookies. Oh. This is our church, our congregation, where we are building beloved community, where we are opening ourselves to each other, where we trust and love, rise and fall together. This is where we feel safe. This is where we know we are welcomed. This is where we belong. For this gift and so many others, we light our chalice. Thank you very much, Cora. And now, in the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation, we need not think alike to love alike. Let's greet and welcome each other. Those in the sanctuary, please feel free to move around to offer greetings. And for those online, please use the chat to say hello.
Hello, my name is Reverend Christina Branum-Martin. It is so good to be with you today. And thank you to the fairy who brought the book. I went down there to find it, and it was not there. And I came back to find it. Thank you. I have some really beautiful opening words I'd like to share. These are by Reverend David Breeden. Welcome, friends, newcomers, old-timers, seekers, skeptics, saints of habits, and rebels of heart. Who's a rebel in here? I thought so. Here we gather not because we think the same, but we chose to journey together. Belonging is not something given. It is something we build with open hands and open hearts. It is made in the sharing of stories, the holding of silences, and the courage to show up as you truly are. Here we practice a radical hospitality, not of perfection, but of presence. May we make this place a shelter for the soul, a workshop for justice, a sanctuary where love is not merely spoken, but lived, and lived deeply, again and again in trust and hope and in the spirit of belonging. Let us open our service today with singing, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, and I understand we're going to do some rounds today. All right. Who's going to help us explain that? Me? All right. You would like a microphone? All right. We share our joys and our sorrows and our concerns here in community, and Peter is going to help us put the stones in the bowl today. Come on up. Every week, you're invited when you come into the sanctuary to put down what is on your heart. And if you are online or at home during the week, you are also welcome to email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org. We start with 3 stones. So Peter, you're going to put 3 and follow me, okay? I know this is the first time and you're going to do great. The first is in honor of the Cherokee and the Muskogee nations of indigenous people who lived on this land before us. Thank you. The next is in remembrance of those who were wrongly enslaved here and who labored on this land. And the third is for all those hurting in conflicts across the globe. Good job. We've got quite a few things to share. The first is from Greg and Claudia Hebert. They are celebrating this Tuesday the final treatment of Greg's cancer treatment. I understand that he had over 30 of them, 5 days a week, early in the morning. Hooray for you, Greg and Claudia, the driver. We are so happy for your family. Susan Ullman shares that August is the first anniversary of our Sunday Security Observer. Thank you. It's good to have people here that are dedicated to do things to keep us safe, and thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bernadine and Tom Cataletta say to please send healing thoughts to our daughter Cheryl as she goes through chemotherapy again. Laura, I am thankful for the past and all it has brought to this present moment, and I am so enjoying this present moment. I am hopeful for the future. Dream it with me so that we can continue to enjoy the present. Amen to that. And Gregory Baldwin, celebrating 34 years young yesterday. Where are you, Gregory? Gregory appreciates any blessings and birthday wishes and glad to live another year and to be here with new friends at Emerson. Would you put one more for all the things that are just not ready to be shared yet? And sometimes they're just so personal. We need the presence of each other, but the words are just not ready. Let us close with the words of the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be. Thank you.
Unitarian Universalism is a faith often referred to as one of deeds, not creeds. How we show up in the world is how we live our faith. One way we seek to do that is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice to the world. During the month of August, we are supporting ARC-SE, Access Reproductive Care Southeast. ARC-SE provides funding and logistical support to ensure Southerners receive safe and compassionate reproductive care, including abortion services. Through education and leadership development, ARC-SE builds power in communities of color to abolish stigma and restore dignity and justice. ARC-SE works to eliminate the economic barriers limiting one's access to reproductive care, build and encourage community involvement in the movement for reproductive justice in the South, advance equitable rights and reproductive decision-making through public advocacy and education, and increase physical access to health care providers and reproductive care. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see in your order of service other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org. Select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization, and we greatly appreciate your generosity.
This is the time when we made lots of extra space for all the young and young at heart in the room. I don't know if you remember, but the chalice table was here with a flame on it. And we had lots of people last week all around, and so we made lots of extra space. So come on up so you can join in the circle. Also, I'm so glad that there were enough lollipops today because we couldn't find our bag of lollipops last week. And I thought if we ran out, you guys might leave. That would be horrible. So I'm glad it worked out. Okay,
Good morning, everyone. I'm Judy, and the book we're going to read today is Stone Soup by John J. Muth. Three monks, Hawk, Lock, and Sue, traveled along a mountain road. They talked about cat whiskers, the color of the sun, and giving. "What makes one happy, Sue?" asked Hawk, the youngest monk. Old Sue, who was the wisest, said, "Let's find out." The sound of a bell brought their gaze to the rooftops of a village below. They could not see from so high above that the village had been through many hard times. Famine, floods, and war had made the villagers weary and untrusting of strangers. They had even become suspicious of their neighbors.
Judy, I'm going to ask the AV booth if there are slides today for the pictures. And if there aren't, just let us know and we'll keep going.
We're on page 3.
We're on page 3. So that's the cover. And there they are walking up the mountain
And looking down.
and looking down. And the next page is where we are. Great.
Thank you. The villagers worked hard, but only for themselves. There was a farmer, a tea merchant, a scholar, a seamstress, a doctor, a carpenter, and many others. But they had little to do with one another. When the monks reached the foot of the mountain, the villagers disappeared into their houses. No one came to the gate to greet them. And when the people saw them enter the village, they closed their windows tight. The monks knocked on the door of the first house. There was no answer. Then the house went dark. They knocked on a second door, and the same thing happened. It happened again and again, from one house to the next. "These people do not know happiness," they all agreed. "But today," said Sue, his face bright as the moon, "we will show them how to make stone soup."
Stone soup? Has anyone ever had stone soup? No.
They gathered twigs and branches and made a fire. They placed a small tin pot on top and filled it with water from the village well. A brave little girl who had been watching came to them. "What are you doing?" she asked. "We are gathering twigs," said Lock. "We're making a fire," said Hawk. "We are making stone soup, and we need 3 round, smooth stones," said Sue. The little girl helped the monks look around the courtyard until they found just the right ones. Then they put them in the water to cook. "These stones will make excellent soup," said Sue. "But this very small pot won't make much, I'm afraid." "My mother has a bigger pot," said the girl. The little girl ran home. As she started to take a pot, her mother asked what she was doing. "The 3 strangers are making soup from stones," she said. "They need our biggest pot." Said the girl's mother. "Stones are easy to come by. I'd like to learn how to do that." The monks poked the coals. As smoke drifted up, the neighbors peered out from their windows. The fire and the large pot in the middle of the village was a true curiosity. One by one, the people of the village came out to see just what this stone soup was. "Of course, old-style stone soup should be well seasoned with salt and pepper," said Hawk. "That's true," said Locke, as he stirred the giant pot filled with water and stones, "but we have none." "I have some salt and pepper," said the scholar, his eyes big with curiosity. He disappeared and came back with salt and pepper and even a few other spices. Sue took a taste. "The last time we had soup stones of this size and color, carrots made the broth very sweet." "Carrots," said a woman from the back. "I may have a few carrots, but just a few." And off she ran. She returned with as many carrots as she could carry and dropped them into the pot. "Do you think it would be better with onions?" asked Hawk. "Oh, yes, maybe an onion would taste good," said a farmer, and he hurried off. He returned in a moment with 5 big onions, and he dropped them in the bubbling soup. "Now that's a fine soup," he said. The villagers all nodded their heads as the smell was very agreeable. "But if only we had some mushrooms," said Sue, rubbing his chin. Several villagers licked their lips. A few dashed away and returned with fresh mushrooms, noodles, pea pods, and cabbages. Something magical began to happen among the villagers. As each person opened their heart to give, the next person gave even more. And as this happened, the soup grew richer and smelled more delicious. "I imagine the emperor would suggest we add dumplings," said one villager. "And bean curd," said another. "What about cloud ear and mung beans and yams?" cried some others. "And taro root and winter melon and baby corn," cried other villagers. "Garlic, ginger root, soy sauce, lily buds." I have some," people cried out, and off they ran, returning with all they could carry. The monks stirred, and the pot bubbled. How good it smelled! How good it would taste! How giving the villagers had become! At last the soup was ready. The villagers gathered together. They brought rice and steamed buns. They brought lychee nuts and sweet cakes. They brought tea to drink, and they lit lanterns. Everyone sat down to eat. They had not been together for a feast like this for as long as anyone could remember. After the banquet, they told stories, sang songs, and celebrated long into the night. Then they unlocked their doors and took the monks into their homes and gave them very comfortable places to sleep. In the gentle spring morning, everyone gathered together near the willows to say farewell. "Thank you for having us as your guests," said the monks. "You have been most generous." "Thank you," said the villagers. "With the gifts you have given, we will always have plenty. You have shown us that sharing makes us all richer." "And to think," said the monks, "to be happy is as simple as making stone soup."
That is such a great story. Thank you for finding that and sharing this today.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to let you know that we sing a song of dedication at the end, and for those of you who are new, the words to that song are on the bottom of the back of your order of service. So let's sing our song of dedication together. Thank you again, Judy. As the little ones go off to the nursery, I invite you to take a moment to settle into your chairs for a time of prayer and meditation. Reverend Joe Cherry wrote a prayer that I'll share, and then we'll follow it with a moment of reflective silence. When my ears are full of the worries, the concerns, the pains of others, I pray, please grant me permission for silence. When my arms and my shoulders and my back ache from the burdens of others, grant me permission to set them down. Guide me to another, to a friend perhaps, to talk with, not for once, to be talked at, and may I not be a burden to them. I pour out my pain, my weariness, my exhaustion, but a place together and a space of mutual care. My listener friend, may you always know that no matter how tired I am, you can turn to me too. Together, we belong to each other. Amen, and may it be so. So in a moment, I'm going to show you a picture of a book. One page of the book from my childhood. And you might recognize it. And I'm going to ask if Avi will put it up in a minute. I grew up with some books that were first published in 1963 from Richard Scarry called Busy Town. Does anyone remember that? Yeah. And then I had some books and I read them to my kids. And I remember this weird apple being driven by a worm. Remember that weird apple? One of the things I love in this image of this page of the book is that everybody's got a role. There's something for everybody to do. There's a firefighter, a letter carrier, a farmer, a milkman, someone cooking, a cow. And every page was just full of people being busy. Thank you for sharing that. To me, when I am here working during the week, Emerson is like Busy Town. There is so much happening all the days here. You might come once or twice a week, perhaps, but when I'm here, I see people gathering in the hallways. I see the committees meeting. I see the choir practicing and hearing them sing. Ironically, when the music group is playing on Thursday, it's also when the Buddhist group is in quiet meditation. And sometimes the drummers come. In the winter time, the drummers are playing in the fellowship hall, and sometimes I'm trying to have a meeting in my office, and it's like we've got a groove going. In this building, there is joy and laughter and sometimes tears and quiet moments. So much is happening. I turn and in every corner there's something going on. So this busy town, to me, really is an embodiment of beloved community. Here is how we build deep and long-lasting relationships with each other. By being simply in each other's lives, staying busy, and being connected. Reverend David Bimbaugh says that the church exists to proclaim the gospel that each human being is infinitely precious, that the meaning in our lives lies hidden in our interactions with each other. The challenge we confront is to be a church which does not bury the great truth of that beneath all the busyness, but that our connections enable us to encounter each other with wonder and appreciation and expectation, and that in so doing we call out our strengths and we pull together our wisdom and compassion that we never knew we even had. I'll say amen to that. This month, I've been speaking to some people who have called me or stopped me in the hallway on a Sunday or even emailed me and said, I'm not sure if there really is a place for me here. One person identifies as trans and was not comfortable in the place where they grew up. Their family had rejected them. They were brokenhearted in dealing with religious trauma. And they needed a place where they were worthy of love, understanding, and that their reflection of the holy was seen in them. I said, yes, there is a place for you here. Another is a person needing a place to ground their Christian faith in love and justice and action in the world, rather than the growing tide of Christian nationalism. And I said, yes, there is a place for you here. Another was a family coming from different identities with religious histories of their families, and they wanted a place for their children to be able to navigate their own sense of truth without dogmatic certainty. Yes, there is a place for you here. Our shared Unitarian Universalist values provide a framework that honors religious pluralism as we seek to uphold justice and reason and equity and compassion. These values rest on the foundation of love that is beyond measure for each of us. That is our Universalist faith in a nutshell, that there is enough love to go around for everyone. Co-author Riley boldly states that we each need to locate the kind of belonging that doesn't demand our erasure. I'm going to say that again. We each need to belong where we are not demanded to erase who we are. And if I think about what our religious education program does for our children, and hopefully for us as adults too, is that we can come here fully as we are and explore our own identities, knowing that we will be loved and respected here. We don't have to check a part of ourselves at the door. In community, we say every week, we do not have to think alike to love alike, and this is our covenant. Our covenant is a deep and lasting relationship with each other. That covenant is based in Unitarian Universalist theology, not as a contract of beliefs, not as dogma or creed, but as a shared promise of how we will be together. Covenant is rooted in our congregational heritage and is continually evolving because we as human beings are also evolving. Covenant acknowledges that sometimes we fall short of our promises. And our covenant invites us to shift our focus from what we believe to how we are in relationship. It is a spiritual practice, and it makes belonging possible, not through being the same, but through commitment and accountability and repair when it's needed. In a covenantal faith like ours, belonging isn't passive. You don't just get a card that you put in your wallet and you belong. It's about co-creating the community that we are seeking. We are creating again and again and over when it's difficult and repair is needed. And that covenant holds us and gives us a framework of how to work through it. It asks us, who do we say we are to one another? And how do our actions align to those promises? In a time when so many long for belonging, but fear vulnerability, covenant invites us to risk relationship in the name of love. It's risky to come to a new place and not know anybody. I remember the first time I walked through this door as your minister, knowing that all the faces would be ones I'd never met before. And I know for many of you who came here during the time that I have met you, it is not easy to go from watching things on YouTube to checking us out maybe live on a Sunday, and then being willing to actually walk through the door. That is a vulnerable, risky thing. This place, this busy town that we are a part of, is also vibrant and full of love and welcome, and I hope that those who risked coming today feel that too. As you know, so many hours go into keeping this place running. It's like an intricate machine with a lot of emotion. I think of the model of community and measured hours of how much it takes to run something from my own experience when I was in my early 20s. During college, I lived in Austin, Texas, and I chose to live in a commune. It was a student cooperative. It had 100 people. You had to interview in order to get in, and you had to promise that you would do 4 hours of labor a week, along with paying your rent. But the good thing is the rent covered it all, room and board and all your meals. Boy, it was a great thing for me. We all lived communally. There was individual buildings, 10 rooms in each building, 10 buildings. And then we had this big, giant 2-story communal building in the middle with a big dining hall. And upstairs we had a big living room with a pool table. That was kind of fun. We had a TV room where we would all get together and watch, of all things, Friends, right? I'm showing my age here. We also had extra labor hours. Think of that. So in the corner of the living room where the pool table was, there was beer making equipment. I found myself, even with my hours of making breakfast on Tuesday morning, that was my assignment. I had extra time, so I volunteered to make chocolate chip cookies every week for our sack lunches. If you ordered a sack lunch, you got one with a chocolate chip cookie. So when I think of running this place, I think of it like that commune that I lived in. And that agreement, that promise that we made to each other, where we tended the garden, we made the meals, we cleaned up, we ran the computer lab. It was a way of working together to make something happen. And luckily, during those years, I met the person I ended up marrying. The love of my life was there, and we both moved into our married life with this communal mindset. And then a few years later, a child came along. I found myself nursing, working. He was in grad school, but I was keeping track of things like when the next vaccination was needed. Simple things that were not the everyday. And so we sat down and I said, I think I'm carrying too much of the load. We need to look at our balance here. And so it was good that we had that mindset of that shared experience of living in the co-op. It was a bedrock of how we could be partners and co-parents together, so we could figure out how to balance out our tasks. And we've had to have conversations over the years to rebalance things as our lives changed. And then when the second kid came along, we did it again. But we are a team, and we live by a covenant, a promise of how to be together. I apply this model to how we are together here. If we each put in 4 hours, what would that look like? Could we brew our own beer? Who knows? Maybe we could make chocolate chip cookies too. I know there are so many people in this room who do a lot more than 4 hours a week. If you're on the board, raise your hand. A lot of hours. If you're part of the pastoral care team, raise your hand. If you sing in the choir, raise your hand. If you support the children's religious education program on a committee or teaching a class or perhaps leading OWL, raise your hand. If you bake things and bring in fresh fruit or lemonade for snack time, raise your hand. If you're in a listening circle and you help support the program. If you're a greeter or an usher or a storyteller or a worship associate, raise your hand. If you do something that I haven't listed because I might not even know you're doing it, raise your hands. Thank you. You all keep this place going. And I know that many of you online participate in ways that I don't know either. I know some of you are in listening circles. Some of you are on committees. I know one person who on Sunday morning keeps track of who is online so we can know who we need to contact to say hello and check in. That is a beautiful task, and I thank you. There is a place here. And if you are new, you might not know that there really is stuff to go around, and you are welcome. And what is appreciated is you have a view for us old comers of how we might do it differently, to be more loving, to be more welcoming, to see things with a new set of eyes. There is a place for you here. We are united in purpose. I'm reminded of a reflection by Reverend Cameron Tremble. He said that we are living through a time where there is a social and economic collapse that is stripping away the illusion of safety. We all know that, don't we? That sense of safety fleeting away. We are in a time that is inviting us to be real. It's an invitation to wake up to the truth that our well-being is not individual, it is collective. It's an invitation to grieve what we thought would save us and instead build what truly sustains us. It's an invitation to return to the ancient wisdom that a market economy cannot offer. The sacred strength of shared life, a mutual care, of belonging. In this busy town, we do more than just stay busy. As we said earlier, we are going beneath that. We are finding a way to belong to each other, to care for each other, to become a beloved community held in the framework of covenant. So if you're not sure how to connect here, I want you to see your extra piece of paper today. If you take a moment to look at it, Yes, there are a lot of committees with a lot of work to do, but there are also things like the group doing art and focusing on art and spirituality. There are LGBT support groups. There are women's groups. There's the Romeos group. The men get together for lunch. There are children's religious education classes. There's so much going on. And you know what I forgot to add to that? If there's something burning that you need inside of you, and it's not there, write it on the edge and say, I need this. And then we can find others who might need the same thing. I hope that what you heard today is that there is a place for you, and that you know, if you walk away and you don't remember a thing I said, that you remember that there is a place for you here and you belong. May it be so.
That's a fun song to sing, Hand in Hand. I like that. So it seems the forces of entropy that Maya Angelou wrote about are with us in many parts of our lives these days, and they contribute to this feeling of hopelessness, like no matter what we do, things are just going to stay the same or possibly get even worse. So how do we battle those forces? Well, Maya Angelou says, perform good deeds, for that is truly the way to battle the forces of entropy. So this feeling that I wanted to do good deeds is partly what attracted me to Emerson in the first place. But before I made it inside here, it was actually about something that happened about 2 years earlier, because like Christina said, it's funny how you hear about this place, and it takes a lot of courage to actually make it in the door. But yeah, it was a while before that, and some friends of mine were getting married at the old church, and Bruce went to meet with them to discuss music, and I met the Reverend there, a Reverend Jeff Jones, and I really liked him, and he explained about Unitarianism. I thought, wow, this sounds really good. But it was a while later, and it was at a time when I was feeling overwhelmed by those forces of entropy in the world, and I felt the need for a community. However, I'm an introvert, I work by myself, and the thought of coming back to a church after such a long absence was very intimidating. But I'd been going through a really sad time in my life, and really felt the need to be part of something greater than what I could do on my own. I remembered Reverend Jeff and some of what he had said about this place, and I thought, well, maybe I'll show up on Sunday. So I did. The service was just about to start, and Millie came by and said she was glad I was there. It was such a nice thing to be told, but she is very genuine, and I immediately relaxed. I found the service to be very interesting, and it spoke to me in a way I really appreciated. But as soon as the service ended, I bolted from my car and was out of there. I came back the next week and loved the message again, but I was always sat as far from others as I could and left as soon as I could. It went on for the better part of a year like that, with me showing up just as the service started, leaving right at the end, until one day I lingered for a moment and ran into Reverend Jeff in the narthex. I said hello, and he remembered me, and so we talked for a few minutes, and I told him how much I was enjoying the services here. And he said, hey, that's great. I am so glad you decided to come and see what we're doing here. But, you know, if you like the services, you may enjoy joining one of the many groups we have here. And you might find it gets you, you might find you might even enjoy it even more if you get involved. And then, have you thought about that at all? So I actually had. I'd been kind of thinking, oh, maybe it might be time to get a little closer and do something to, contribute. So the AV group was looking for people at the time. So I thought, well, maybe I'll join them. So Chris Tice, there he is. He trained me, and the next week I sat up there in the bird's nest and helped with the AV. And it was really interesting, and I did feel like I was helping with the service. Although it doesn't look that far away from here, but I felt so far away from the service, and I thought, oh, I don't know if this is the right fit for me. So the next week they didn't need me, so I sat in the congregation and shared a hymnal with Elaine Haskins, whom I had seen in the choir since I'd been coming. And so at the end, when I told her how, at the end, I was like, gosh, you're in the choir, you guys are so good, she was very pleased, but almost right away, she invited me to join. So I was still looking for a group, so I showed up at the next Wednesday night rehearsal thinking, so I've watched these people singing for the last year now, they're really talented, and I don't know if I can do it, but I'll give it a try. But I felt very intimidated, more intimidated than when I came in here when I went to the first choir meeting, which is hilarious because everybody in the choir is really nice, I'm telling you, they're very, very nice. But I thought, oh, what's this guy? They're going to think, what's this guy doing here? He thinks he can sing with us? But I was way off. I was welcomed with open arms, literally. Scott Dobler, Mike Rosano, Elaine, and many others gave me hugs just for showing up. As word got around that I was a newbie considering joining choir, I got so much encouragement and support from everyone, but I still wasn't sure I'd found my place. When we rehearsed, I was a little shocked by how hard we work. There was little downtime, and I found I was struggling with following music and also with hitting the notes. At the end, I told Kathy I appreciated how nice everyone but it probably wasn't for me. She said, well, I think you're in the wrong section. Why don't you come back just one more time and join the tenors? I think the bass section is too low for you. So it had been a lot of fun, so I figured, I'll give it one more week. So I came back, and I felt much more comfortable with the tenors. Hey, tenors. Shout out to the tenors. Yay, tenors. And I felt like, oh, yay, I found my place. However, apparently it was just the beginning of me finding my place here. After being in the choir for a year, Esther Sumantaro invited me to be part of the worship team. I was thrilled. I'd gotten a lot more confidence while being in the choir and felt ready to be part of that aspect of the service also. So right away, I felt at home on the worship team and found that I really loved being a part of that group too. But then I was really sad when Reverend Jeb decided to step down from being our minister. But then Reverend Deborah Bennett came along, and she invited me to be part of the story troupe. I said no right away. I love stories and telling stories, but I do not have kids, and I wasn't sure that the Emerson kids would want to hear me tell stories. I'd love watching Noel Garwick and Mark Cobb tell these stories, but I wasn't sure I could do it, so I said no. But if you ever met Reverend Deborah, you know she doesn't give up very easily. So she asked me 2 more times, and I said, all right, I'll give it a try. And from the first time I shared a story during the Story for All Ages, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And I've continued to be part of that group as well. So thinking about what Reverend Jeff said to me about joining groups will enhance and deepen your experience here at Emerson, I have to say he is 100% correct. It took me a while to find my first group, and it wasn't a fit, but I kept searching and found where I did fit, and I love my groups. I was in a listening circle for a few years, which is incredible. I love the discussions and getting to know more people here at Emerson, outside choir, and the groups I was already in. And then I joined Mo, the Musicians of Emerson group that Bruce started, and I love that group too. There are so many groups here, and sometimes I wish there was a few more days of the week so I could join at least one more. I've always wanted to try the drummers group, the Buddhist, and the pagan group, and yeah, who knows, maybe one day I will try one of those groups. But I would like to encourage anyone who's enjoying the services here, just like Reverend Jeff said to me, if you never joined one of the groups, give one a try. If you don't like it, try another. There is never any pressure to stick with one if you don't feel like it's right for you. But when you find one that fits, you will be thrilled. And the more groups you're in, the more good deeds you'll be doing by sharing your time and talent with them. It's a great way to fight those forces of entropy, and it's also a great way to unite with more of the amazing people sitting on either side of you right now or watching online from home. And when we unite together, we are greater than the sum of our parts. And now for our closing hymn, it is number 168, One More Step. Please rise in body or in voice as we join together in song for One More Step.
The closing words are by a mentor of mine that I met when I was 15. I was a non-voting member of the UUA board. That is the board of our whole denomination. And I was a part of a youth program that was called Why Are You You? Which is a great question. It's also an acronym for Young Religious Unitarian Universalists, and in a few weeks, we're going to be showing a documentary about the youth movement that lasted about 25 years that I was a big part of. And Wayne Arneson, my mentor and one of the leaders in YRUU, wrote these important words. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard and the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are never alone. Cora, can you come on up? And we'll do it together, okay? All right.
As our chalice is extinguished this morning, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
Oh. Sometimes I ad-lib in my sermons, and I wrote in my sermon to return those to the tables in the back so that we can gather them and get in touch with you to help you get connected. So thank you for that question so very much.
Okay, we just have a couple of announcements. Make sure you join us next week. Our Minister Emeritus, Reverend Jeff Jones, who I was just talking about, a lot of you probably remember him, will be here as our guest speaker, and his message is in the tradition of liberal religion. So make sure you be here for that, and then also check the back of your order of service for second hour activities. I think Bruce has something he would like to say.
I'd like to apologize to Jeff Jones. The first time I met him, I really grilled him. My announcement is that this week we get back to our Mojos, which is our junior Mo's, Musicians of Emerson. If you are between the ages of 9 and middle school, I don't know what those ages are, we would love to see you. We meet every Wednesday at 5:30 till 7 o'clock. We work with ukuleles and drums. We introduce kids to rhythm, writing music, we play games, and we're also preparing to sing at the ecumenical service this year, which is the Thursday before Thanksgiving. So that'll be what we'll be working on. If you want to dip your toes into Mojos and you're not sure if you want to stay, but you would like to perform once with us, this is your chance. You could come, try it out, sing with us at the ecumenical, and then make your decision. Also, Mo's is starting back this Thursday night. Those are the old people.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. And I see here Alex Douglas also has an announcement he'd like to make.
All right, so starting this week is when we're getting ready for the Pinewood Derby. So as many of you know, in 3 weeks, we are going to be joining with another congregation to do the Pinewood Derby. You might be asking yourself, what is the Pinewood Derby? And I'm glad you asked. This is a Pinewood Derby. So you come and you make a little car and you race them against each other. It's very, very fun. This is an activity that is open to everyone. It is for all of the youth, for the youth's parents, for people who like the youth, people who don't like the youth. Anyone at all is more than welcome to come. And so the way this works is this coming Saturday, we are going to be meeting at the other congregation. It's a church down on Holt Road. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We're going to meet over there. We're going to have saws. We're going to have standing, everything you would need to be able to make. We'll have the kits also. So all you need to do is just show up, and we have everything you need to get ready. Then the next Saturday, if you miss this Saturday, we'll have, once again, we're going to meet here, and we're going to have the saws and the equipment and all the kits, everything you could possibly need to be able to paint it and make a really great car to race. And then the Saturday after that, that's in 3 weeks, is the actual race where there's ice cream and fun and excitement. Also, this year, the youth curriculum is called Building Bridges, where we are learning about other religions. We are going to visit other churches and see how they do religion. And part of that is that bridges go 2 ways. And so as we go to our congregation to show up, I think of us as like the chalice, right? That we are that light where we're inviting people, like this is a place of community and warmth and friendship. And I know that when I was still in the Mormon church, I would have loved to be able to see a group like that show up and show me another way to do religion. And so I want to encourage everyone to please come build a car and get in touch with your desire to be a kid again. Now, I also know you're thinking to yourself, wow, that sounds really fun. How could I sign up for that? I'm glad you asked. This right here, I have QR codes that I'm going to be handing out to everyone. I'm going to come and find you and give you a QR code. And you can scan it and sign up. We will give you a kit for free. It'll be so fun. Now, if I give you this QR code, even if you have no desire at all to participate, I want you to take it very graciously and say thank you. And I look forward to seeing many of you this coming Saturday. So thank you.
Thanks, Alex. That sounds like a lot of fun. And as our service ends, go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.
me double check, make sure I didn't lie to you. And then I think it's the next week I take my brother through it. Well, 26th. I mean, yeah. Full veins. I was waiting for Kathy to pass out. I don't like how she was just like a shit. Well, I was ready. I was like,
I was just out this morning before we got wired.
Hopefully it's also I don't know. Was it big chunks?
I'm going to get my screwdriver to open it up.
we sometimes sing. That's not our focus. We're not like a choir. The other component to Moe's is if you're a musician, confident musician, sometimes you just want to share yourself as a musician. A soloist, you don't necessarily have to be part of Moe's, but I like to know that you're out there. You're a resource of music. But we would love to have you. Well, that's a kid's thing, so that... well, there's usually Peter and I, so no until we need an extra adult, because one of us is not, we always need 2 adults. But you were like the 3rd person that said they want to learn ukulele, and they want to bust in on the kids group and learn ukulele. So... There was. There used to be a ukuleles, but kid doesn't. Well, you don't know her. Go on a minute. And who was really driving that was Mark.
So good. Right. Like you share.
Well, you're the 4th person that has said an adult